Welcome, everyone. Today, our topic is change your life. Many people want to change their life, but very few people actually do it. Why? Because most people wait for the right time. They wait for next Monday. They wait for next month. They wait for motivation. They wait until they feel confident. But the truth is, life changes the moment you stop waiting and start moving. And today, I want to tell you a story. Not just a story about success, but a story about pain, struggle, fear, and transformation. Because sometimes the people who change their lives the most are the people who almost gave up. A few years ago, there was a young man named Michael. From the outside, his life looked completely normal. He had a regular job, a small apartment, a few friends, and a routine that never changed. Every morning he woke up tired. Not physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. He felt like life was moving forward for everyone except him. Every day looked the same. Wake up, go to work, come home exhausted, scroll through social media for hours, watch other people succeed, sleep, repeat. And slowly, without realizing it, Michael became addicted to comfort, not happiness, comfort. There is a difference. Comfort keeps people stuck. It convinces them to stay where they are. It whispers things like, maybe tomorrow, maybe next year, maybe when life gets easier. But life rarely gets easier. You simply become stronger when you decide to face it. One night, after another long shift, Michael sat alone in his apartment. The room was quiet.
His phone battery was dead. The television was off. And for the first time in a long time, he was left alone with his thoughts. That moment changed everything, because silence reveals the truth people try to avoid. And in that silence, Michael realized something painful. He was not angry at life. He was angry at himself. Angry because deep down, he knew he was capable of more. He had dreams he never chased, ideas he never started, goals he kept postponing. Fear had quietly taken control of his life. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. And the worst part about fear is this: if you obey it long enough, it becomes your identity. That night, Michael looked at himself in the mirror and said something simple. I cannot keep living like this. Not a perfect speech, not a dramatic movie moment, just honesty. And sometimes honesty is the beginning of transformation. The next morning, nothing magical happened. The world did not suddenly change. Michael still had bills, still had stress, still had doubts, but something inside him was different. For the first time in years, he decided to take responsibility for his future. And that is where change always begins, responsibility. Because the moment you stop blaming life, you regain your power. Michael started small, very small. He woke up 1 hour earlier every morning. He started exercising, not because he loved it, because he was tired of feeling weak. He started reading books instead of wasting hours online. He stopped complaining so much, stopped making excuses, stopped waiting for motivation. And honestly, at first, it felt terrible. People think change feels exciting. Sometimes it does, but most of the time, change feels uncomfortable. Waking up early feels uncomfortable. Discipline feels uncomfortable. Growth feels uncomfortable. But comfort never changes lives. Discomfort does. Weeks passed, then months. Slowly, Michael began noticing small improvements.
His mind became clearer. His body became stronger. His confidence slowly returned. But the biggest difference was not outside, it was inside. For the first time in a long time, he respected himself. And self-respect changes everything. Because once you respect yourself, you stop accepting a life that destroys your peace. One day, Michael decided to learn a new skill: video editing. At first, he was terrible.
His first videos looked bad, nobody watched them, nobody cared, but he kept going. And this is where most people fail, not because they are untalented, because they quit too early. People want immediate success, immediate results, immediate recognition, but life does not work like that. A seed planted underground does not become a tree overnight. For a long time, nothing looks different, but underneath the surface, roots are growing. Your growth works the same way. Even when you cannot see progress, progress may still be happening. Michael kept practicing every single day, after work, late at night, on weekends, even when he felt tired, especially when he felt tired, because discipline is not about doing something when you feel motivated. It is about doing it even when you don't feel like it. Months later, one of his videos finally started gaining attention. Not millions of views, not instant fame, but enough to give him hope. And hope is powerful, because once people realize change is possible, they stop settling for average. Opportunities slowly started appearing. Small freelance jobs, new connections, new confidence, and little by little, Michael began building a new life. But success did not remove all his problems.
There were still difficult days. Days he doubted himself. Days he compared himself to others. Days he wanted to quit. And maybe you know exactly what that feels like. Maybe right now you are trying to improve your life and nobody notices. Maybe you feel like your progress is too slow. Maybe you feel exhausted from trying. But listen carefully. Slow progress is still progress. The people who succeed in life are not always the smartest people. They are usually the people who refuse to stop. Persistence changes lives. Most people underestimate the power of consistency. They think success comes from one big moment, one lucky opportunity, one perfect idea. But real success is usually boring. It is daily discipline repeated for years. One better habit, one better decision, one more attempt, one more day of effort. That is how lives change. A year later, Michael was no longer the same person. He looked different, thought differently, acted differently. He eventually left the job that once made him miserable, not because somebody rescued him, because he built another path for himself. And that's one of the most important lessons in life. Nobody is coming to save you. At some point, you must become your own rescue. You must become the person willing to fight for your future. And yes, it is hard. People will doubt you. Some friends may disappear. Some people will laugh at your goals. But never let small-minded people convince you to live a small life. The truth is, growth makes people uncomfortable, especially people who refuse to grow themselves. That is why you must protect your mindset, protect your energy, protect your focus, protect your vision. Not everyone deserves access to your dreams. Michael also learned something else during his journey. Your environment matters. If you surround yourself with negativity, excuses become normal. If you surround yourself with lazy people, wasting time becomes normal. But when you surround yourself with discipline, ambition, and growth, your standards rise. The people around you influence your future more than you realize. And another truth people rarely talk about is this: changing your life requires sacrifice. You may lose comfort. You may lose relationships. You may lose old habits that once felt safe. But sometimes losing old versions of yourself is necessary for growth. You cannot become a new person while holding on to old behaviors. Transformation requires letting go. And maybe that's the part people fear the most, because change is uncertain. It forces people into the unknown. But everything meaningful in life exists on the other side of uncertainty. Confidence, success, strength,
freedom, purpose. None of those things come from staying comfortable. They come from action. Michael eventually realized something powerful. The life he wanted was never going to appear magically. He had to create it, day by day, habit by habit, decision by decision. And so do you. Your future is being created by what you do repeatedly, not what you say, not what you wish, what you do. Maybe your first step is improving your health. Maybe it is learning a skill. Maybe it is starting the business idea you keep postponing. Maybe it is walking away from negativity. Maybe it is finally believing in yourself again. Whatever it is, start. Start scared. Start tired. Start imperfect, but start. Because action creates momentum, and momentum changes lives. You do not need to have your entire future figured out today. You just need enough courage to take the next step. One step leads to another, and another, and another, until one day your life looks completely different. Not because of luck, because you refused to stay the same. And remember this, the strongest people you admire today were once uncertain too. They once doubted themselves, they once failed, they once felt lost, but they kept moving forward. That is what separates successful people from everyone else. Not perfection, persistence. So if you're struggling right now, don't give up on yourself. Your current situation is not your final destination. The pain you feel today can either destroy you or develop you. The choice is yours. You can stay trapped in excuses, or you can decide that your future matters more than your fear. Because one day you will either say, "I wish I started," or "I'm grateful I never gave up." And trust me, the second feeling is worth every difficult moment. So stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting to feel ready. The right time is now. Change your habits, change your mindset, change your actions, and eventually you will change your entire life. Thank you for listening.